If you look at the coronation footage, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes. And that was because they were angry with Camilla.
Recently, the British royal family has been shaken by a staggering revelation on the occasion of her 78th birthday. Queen Camilla made an unexpected appearance in a live television interview, recounting a harrowing memory of being insulted and assaulted by a servant of Prince William, who branded her the third party who shattered the royal family. What seemed at first a belated confession swiftly escalated into a media tempest. Public opinion divided, with the press lauding Camilla's courage in confronting her past, while King Charles, overcome with emotion, wept before his screen, convinced that his long misunderstood wife had been vindicated. Yet mere days later, a startling detail emerged, casting doubt on her entire narrative. The servant Camilla referenced had passed away over a decade ago. From this moment, Prince William embarked on a discreet investigation, tracing the clues to a recording of the late Queen's voice, a piece of evidence that could unravel the carefully crafted image Camilla had constructed. When the original recording was revealed, and the truth laid bare, the royal family faced its most excruciating dilemma between power and truth, which truly forms the foundation of a monarchy. In the radiant glow of the studio lights at Britain's national broadcaster, where royal tales are often spun with solemnity and mystery, Queen Camilla entered with a fragile smile concealing the turbulent undercurrents beneath. It was her 78th birthday, and Camilla had chosen to make a surprising appearance in a live interview broadcast to millions of households across the United Kingdom and beyond. The seasoned journalist hosting the program, with a voice warm and measured, greeted her with decorum. "Your Majesty, congratulations on your birthday. Today we shall speak of your journey, shall we not?" Camilla took her seat, her trembling hands clutching a handkerchief embroidered with roses, a symbol of the elegance she perpetually sought to uphold. She began to speak, her voice deliberate, yet laden with emotion, as though unearthing a long-buried wound. "I have never wished to speak of these painful memories," she whispered, her eyes glistening with tears. "But today at 78, I feel compelled to face my past. I was once insulted and even struck by a servant of Prince William. They called me the third party who destroyed the royal family. Those were dark days when all I desired was to love and be loved, yet I was thrust into a maelstrom of hatred." Her story spread like wildfire. The cameras zoomed in on Camilla's face, where wrinkles told tales of endured suffering. She recounted vividly, "I remember it clearly, a stormy evening at Kensington Palace. The servant, a middle-aged woman fiercely loyal to Princess Diana, lunged at me with venomous words. She pushed me to the ground, and I lay there, tears mingling with blood from a scratch on my arm. The public, watching through their screens, was swept by a wave of sympathy. On social media, the hashtag #JoCamillaBrave surged, accompanied by thousands of comments expressing solidarity. She has endured so much, and the Queen deserves respect. The press, ever attuned to royal drama, erupted with coverage painting Camilla as a victim, caught in a vortex of societal prejudice. Meanwhile, at Buckingham Palace, King Charles III sat alone in his private quarters re-watching the interview. Tears streamed down his weathered face, revealing deep sorrow. "My Camilla," he murmured, "you are the only one strong enough to rise above such hatred. I failed to protect you sooner." Charles, frail from years of ailment, felt his heart heavy with regret. Clutching a pillow, he recalled the early days of their forbidden love, vowing to stand by his wife more resolutely than ever. Yet in another corner of the palace, Prince William watched in silence. Seated in his study, gripping a glass of whiskey, his face betrayed confusion and unease. "That servant, she died over 10 years ago," he muttered. Doubt stirred within him, a prince known for his caution and loyalty to his mother, Princess Diana's legacy. He vividly recalled the servant Emily Hargrove, who who perished in a car accident in 2015. How could Camilla speak of an assault by someone long deceased? Though her story captivated the public, it reopened old wounds between generations of royals. William's heart tightened, a vague dread spreading within. Was this the truth, or a cunning gambit? The public eagerly awaited the royal response, while the press continued to exploit the interview, turning it into a blazing topic. Following the explosive television interview, a tidal wave of support for Queen Camilla swept away lingering doubts from her past. The public, once harsh in their judgment of her as the third party in King Charles and Princess Diana's marriage, began to see her anew as a courageous victim, daring to confront deep-seated pain. Major outlets like the Daily Mail and BBC News published glowing articles with headlines such as "Camilla from Outcast to Symbol of Resilience," garnering millions of shares, particularly from middle-aged women who saw their own struggles reflected in her story. Camilla, with her sharp instincts and years of navigating royal upheavals, seized this opportunity. She did not passively await public sympathy. Instead, she orchestrated a sophisticated media campaign to cement her image as a courageous victim. From Buckingham Palace, she directed her advisors to organize a series of charitable events where she appeared in modest attire with a delicate smile and heartfelt tales of her journey of forgiveness. At a charity gala for orphaned children, Camilla stood on stage, her voice trembling. "I was once cast into darkness, branded with cruel names. But today I stand here to say that compassion can heal all wounds." The audience erupted in applause, many moved to tears. Charles, seated in the front row, gazed at his wife with pride, his heart racing. "My Camilla, truly a heroine," he whispered to an aide. The pinnacle came at the unveiling of Princess Diana's statue, a grand ceremony at Kensington Square, where Diana's legacy remained vivid in the public's heart. The event was meant to honor Diana with a towering bronze statue depicting her embracing her sons William and Harry in a loving embrace. The atmosphere was initially solemn and poignant. Hundreds of guests, including politicians, celebrities, and ordinary citizens, gathered under London's grey skies. King Charles, dressed in an elegant black suit, stood beside Camilla, who clutched a bouquet of white roses, a deliberate symbol of purity to counter her past image as a homewrecker. As Charles concluded his speech extolling Diana as the great woman who changed the world, the crowd applauded fervently. But then, unexpectedly, a group of about 20 individuals stormed the square's edge, wielding banners and shouting fiercely, "Third party, you destroyed Diana's family. Camilla, leave the royal family." Their cries echoed, accompanied by eggs and crumpled paper hurled through the air. Chaos erupted. Royal security rushed to contain the crowd, while cameras captured every moment. An egg narrowly missed Camilla, splattering her dress, causing her to stumble. Viewers watching the live broadcast felt their hearts clench. This was a public assault aimed directly at the Queen. Camilla stood frozen amid the storm, her face pale beneath heavy makeup. She did not flee or scream. Instead, she remained still, her eyes brimming with tears, her hands gripping the bouquet until her knuckles whitened. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not theatrical, but seemingly genuine. Why do they still hate me?" So she whispered loud enough for the microphone to catch and broadcast. Charles, driven by instinct to protect his wife, rushed to her side, his face a mix of fury and anguish. "Stop this. This is an affront to the crown," he shouted, but the jeers persisted. Security eventually dispersed the protesters, but the damage was done. The ceremony meant to honor Diana had become a new royal drama. Back at Buckingham Palace, Charles sat alone, replaying the footage. Tears fell as his heart ached for his humiliated wife. "Poor Camilla," he murmured, clutching a silk pillow. He believed this was undeniable proof of her suffering, a woman who sacrificed everything for love, now thrust back into a cycle of hatred. Charles resolved to stand by her more steadfastly, even against any who doubted her. But Camilla did not let the moment pass idly. That evening, as Charles wallowed in sorrow, she slipped him an old recording stored in an ornate silver box. "Charles, you should hear this," she said softly. The recording played the familiar voice of the late Queen Elizabeth II. I still believe Camilla has the strength to uphold the royal family. Charles listened, his eyes lighting up with sudden emotion. "My mother. She chose you," he whispered, embracing Camilla, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. She smiled in the shadows, knowing this was the key to fully controlling her husband. Unbeknownst to all, the original recording had been expertly edited by a sound technician Camilla had hired. The latter part, where the Queen expressed doubts about outsiders like Camilla, had been erased. She had instructed keep only the positive, destroy the rest. This fabricated recording not only bolstered her position, but also blinded Charles, making him ready to defend her against all criticism. The public witnessing the protest on television surged with sympathy for Camilla. The press amplified the narrative Queen attacked at Diana's memorial, symbol of forgiveness trampled. Public opinion split, but most leaned towards her, seeing the incident as proof of her resilience. Camilla felt invigorated, her power growing, a deft hand weaving a web of deception, drawing Charles deeper into her influence. Yet she knew William was watching, and the true battle had only just begun. In the dim light of his study at Kensington Palace, Prince William sat before his computer, his tense face illuminated by the blue glow. It was late, and the patter of rain outside echoed his restless mind. On his desk, a half-empty glass of Scotch whiskey exuded a faint, smoky aroma, a rare indulgence for a prince cornered by circumstance. The ancient walls seemed to whisper royal secrets, but William felt only isolation and suspicion. The unveiling of his mother's statue still haunted him. Camilla's tearful image broadcast globally had swayed public sympathy. Yet William's sharp instincts told him something was amiss. He reviewed security footage from Kensington Square, slowing each frame. The crowd jeered, threw eggs, and shouted, "Third party, you destroyed Diana's family." Camilla appeared the perfect victim. But then William paused, zooming in on a corner of the screen. A familiar face emerged among the protesters, Harold Jenkins, a temporary employee in Camilla's office. William recalled Jenkins from the security roster. "Impossible," he muttered, his heart pounding. Jenkins wasn't merely protesting, he was signaling the crowd as if orchestrating. Fury rising, William checked Jenkins' file. He discovered Jenkins had met Elena Voss, Camilla's trusted media advisor, just 2 hours before the ceremony at a cafe near the square. Staged, it was all staged, he whispered, envisioning Camilla's directive. "Make it chaotic so they pity me." His doubts about her televised confession, the tale of a servant dead for a decade now, formed a coherent plot. William's heart tightened, thinking of his father. King Charles manipulated by blind love. Determined to uncover the truth, William arranged to meet Charles at Buckingham Palace the next morning. In a private meeting room, he opened his laptop, pointing to Jenkins' face in the footage. "Father, the protest was staged. Camilla orchestrated it for sympathy," he said, his voice steady yet emotional. Charles, holding a cup of Earl Grey, frowned. His eyes, weary and tear-streaked from Camilla's interview, met his son's. "William, you suspect my wife. She is the victim, not a manipulator," he replied, disappointment in his tone. William presented details: Voss's meeting, Jenkins' file, the coordinated footage. But Charles shook his head. "You're too much like your mother, always suspicious. Camilla is the only one who understands me." The words cut like a blade. "You don't trust me?" William asked, his voice breaking. Charles turned away. "I need time. Don't make this worse." William left the room, his steps heavy, tears streaming down his face. He felt isolated, a lone warrior on a battlefield. Yet the pain fueled his resolve. On his way back, he called an audio expert, a friend from his military days. "Analyze the recording Camilla gave my father." "I need proof," he said. Suspecting the recording purportedly, the late Queen Elizabeth II's trust in Camilla, was tampered with, William launched a covert investigation tracking Voss, checking Jenkins' accounts and contacting insiders. He knew the truth awaited revelation. In his car, gazing at London's grey streets, he clenched his fists, thinking of his mother. "I won't let her win." In her private chamber at Clarence House, Queen Camilla sat on a velvet-upholstered armchair, her gaze as sharp as a blade. The crystal chandelier's light accentuated the harsh lines on her face marks of her relentless struggle to secure her place in the royal family. Camilla knew William was investigating, and she had no intention of letting her stepson dismantle her carefully crafted game. She summoned her trusted media and security team for a clandestine meeting. In a sealed room, free of cameras or recorders, she commanded, "Banish them immediately. Send them abroad, Australia, Canada, anywhere. Leave no trace." Those involved in the Kensington Square protest, from Harold Jenkins to temporary staff, were dispatched within 24 hours with hefty payments and threats to ensure silence. Camilla gazed out the window, a faint smile curling her lips. "No one will expose my plans." She knew that if William found evidence, her courageous victim image would crumble like a sand castle. But Camilla didn't stop at covering her tracks. She targeted a greater prize, the recording of the late Queen Elizabeth II used to manipulate Charles. William's suspicions about its authenticity threatened her, and she needed to erase all links to the truth. She contacted Alistair Merton, the late Queen's former private secretary, an elderly man with trembling hands. Merton had been loyal to the crown, but under Camilla's pressure, he became an unwilling pawn. In a dimly lit office at Buckingham Palace, Camilla fixed her icy stare on him. "You will sign a document confirming the recording's authenticity. Refuse, and your family will lose everything, honor, wealth, all of it." Merton bowed his head, his voice shaking. "Your Majesty, I cannot do this. The Queen would not forgive." Camilla cut him off, her smile venomous. "The Queen is dead. I am not. Do it, and you'll be richly rewarded." Merton, tormented by guilt, signed the falsified document, his heart heavy with betrayal. Camilla went further, manipulating Charles with finesse, controlling his major decisions. At Buckingham Palace, she oversaw the royal charitable funds, the king's schedule, and even diplomatic audiences. During private dinners, she whispered to Charles, "Darling, William is jealous of us. He wants to tear down all you've built." Charles, weakened by illness and pressure, believed her. He grew distant from his son, their brief calls turning cold. In a rare confrontation, Charles told William's son, "I'm disappointed in you. Why can't you let our family be?" William, standing in the cold meeting room, felt his heart shatter. He wanted to shout, "You're being deceived." But he restrained himself, knowing emotions alone wouldn't defeat Camilla. In the following days, Camilla appeared at a major charity event in London. Before hundreds of guests and cameras, she stood at the podium, her voice choked. "I only wish to serve the crown, but some within this very family seek to tarnish our honor." Though she named no one, all knew she meant William. The public buzzed, and the press escalated the scandal, branding William a troublemaker and disloyal prince. From Kensington Palace, William watched the news, feeling lonelier than ever. Clutching a framed photo of his mother, Princess Diana, tears fell. "Mother, what do I do? She's destroying everything." Yet his pain fueled his resolve. Camilla might have won this round, but William would not surrender. William began plotting his counterattack. In the shadowed study, he contacted a former security officer who had worked for Camilla, who promised to provide details of financial transactions tied to the protest. Simultaneously, William discreetly approached Merton, hoping the old man would reveal the truth about the recording. The public still believed in Camilla's courageous image, but William knew the truth was within reach. Sitting in his car, gazing at London's misty streets, he clenched his fists. "You won't win forever, Camilla." The battle between stepmother and stepson had reached its fiercest stage. In a quiet cafe on London's outskirts, Prince William sat across from Alistair Merton. He chose this venue for its discretion: no cameras, no palace spies. Dressed in a grey coat and cap, his piercing blue eyes betrayed his resolve. Merton, frail and silver-haired, clutched his teacup, burdened by a lifetime's weight. Mr. Merton. William said, his voice low but firm. "I know she coerced you. Tell me the truth about the recording. I need it to save my father." Merton looked up, his face etched with remorse. "Your Highness, I did wrong," he whispered, his voice breaking. Taking a deep breath, Merton confessed. "The original recording of the Queen said, 'Outsiders may help, but they can never uphold the crown.' Camilla forced me to erase that part, splicing it to sound like the Queen trusted her." He slid a small USB drive across the table. "This is the original. I kept it because my conscience wouldn't let me destroy it entirely." William gripped the drive, feeling a glimmer of hope. But William didn't stop there. Sleepless nights led him to hack into Camilla's internal transaction system, uncovering bank records showing a large payment to an audio technician shortly after the fake recording was created. He resolved to act. William met with his trusted secretary, who had supported him throughout his investigation into Diana's legacy. They compiled the evidence, the original recording, bank transactions, and witness testimonies. The secretary asked quietly, "Your Highness, do you understand the consequences? These are grave accusations." William nodded. "I know. But truth outweighs false honor." Camilla, learning of his moves, struck back. At a public event, she stood at a podium, her face a mask of pained resilience. "Prince William is betraying his family, undermining the crown's honor," she declared, her voice trembling, as if holding back tears. The press, already under her sway, amplified the scandal. She tightened her grip on Charles, scheduling his days to avoid William and blocking private calls. Charles, weary from illness, grew ever more dependent. "Camilla, I trust you," he said at dinner, holding her hand. She smiled, but anxiety gnawed at her. William was closing in, and if the Royal Council verified his evidence, her empire would collapse. From Kensington Palace, William felt the weight of public scorn, with comments branding him disloyal and selfish. In a moment of weakness, he stood before his mother's photo, Diana's warm smile strengthening him. He recalled her words, "Stand for the truth, even if the world is against you." Wiping his tears, he pressed on. He prepared for the final battle, contacting another witness, a technician who had fled abroad to escape Camilla's threats. Via an encrypted call, the technician confirmed, "I was paid to edit the recording." Camilla gave the order herself. William recorded the call, adding it to his dossier. Time was running out. Camilla would not sit idle, and her next move could be lethal. The main meeting room at Buckingham Palace was steeped in a heavy silence, as if the ancient walls sensed the gravity of the moment. The crystal chandeliers cast light on the stern faces of the Royal Council, seasoned advisors tasked with safeguarding the monarchy's honor and tradition. Prince William stood at the center, his black suit impeccable, though exhaustion marked his face. Before him lay a thick dossier, the evidence he had painstakingly gathered to expose Camilla. "Lords and ladies," William began, his voice steady and resolute. "Today I stand to defend the truth and the honor of the crown." He opened his laptop, playing the original recording of Queen Elizabeth II. Her authoritative voice filled the room. "Outsiders may help, but they can never uphold the crown." The unmistakable clarity stunned the council into silence. William continued, his voice thick with emotion. "Queen Camilla falsified this recording, erasing my grandmother's warning to manipulate my father and the public." He presented further evidence: bank transfers to the audio technician, a servant's testimony about orders to destroy tapes, and Alistair Merton's confession. Finally, he introduced an unexpected witness, a former security officer exiled by Camilla, but persuaded to return by William. The officer confirmed I was hired to stage the protest at Kensington Square. It was the Queen's idea. The council exchanged glances, some shaking their heads in disbelief at Camilla's audacity. William scanned the room, his gaze resting on King Charles, seated silently at the table's end, his face ashen. Charles said nothing, his trembling hands gripping the table as if bracing for an emotional storm. Camilla, summoned to face the accusations, entered with an unnervingly calm demeanor. Dressed in a deep blue gown, her face perfectly made up. Her sharp eyes betrayed tension. "These allegations are absurd," she declared, her voice quivering as if insulted. "William seeks to destroy me, to ruin the crown for his own ambitions." But as the original recording played again, and the witness recounted the staged protest, Camilla's composure faltered. She looked to Charles for support, but he only bowed his head, his eyes red. The council deliberated for 3 hours. At last, the chairman, a senior former judge, rose. "We confirm that Queen Camilla falsified royal documents and orchestrated events to manipulate public opinion." The room fell silent. Charles speaking for the first time, his voice choked Camilla. Why, she offered no reply. Her lips pursed, her eyes burning with rage and defeat. Charles, his heart broken, but his reason restored, made his decision. In a brief statement, he declared, "I revoke all ceremonial titles and privileges of Queen Camilla. The crown cannot tolerate deceit." His words were a final blow ending Camilla's ambitions. She left the room, her steps heavy, without looking back. The public, when the news broke, erupted in debate. The press, once her ally, turned swiftly. The hashtag #Door Justice for William dominated social media, with millions praising his courage. William, back at Kensington Palace, sat alone in his study. Holding his mother's photo, tears fell. "Mother, I did it," he whispered. Yet victory was bittersweet. His bond with his father was fractured, and the monarchy, though saved, bore irreparable cracks. Charles, in his private quarters, replayed his mother's original recording. He called William, but his son didn't answer immediately. The rift between father and son lingered, a wound needing time to heal. The public, after the scandal storm, began to regain trust in the monarchy. William emerged as a symbol of integrity, but he knew the cost was steep. Camilla, stripped of power, retreated to a rural estate, living in bitter silence. Yet William sensed the story was not over. Other secrets might lurk in the palace's shadows, and he had to be ready. Gazing at London's twinkling lights, he whispered, "The crown is of truth, and I will protect it no matter the cost." The tension subsided, but the British crown still bore cracks, with new challenges looming. William, now a beacon of justice, stood firm at the crossroads of power and duty, ready for whatever lay ahead. What are your thoughts on Camilla's actions in orchestrating events and manipulating public opinion? Can her calculations be justified as a means to protect her position within the royal family, or do you view them as an unforgivable betrayal? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.